Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for the members of the Parliament, people that I deeply admire. Thank you for the organizers, Lily, Dr. Malone. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for this amazing, amazing group. I would like to switch very quick to Spanish. My presentation is very, very short, only 10 slides, not very complicated presentation and complicated graphics, because this is more of an awareness. Quiero dar las gracias a todos los países hispanoparlantes, como México, mi país, España, y todos los países de Latinoamérica, por darnos la oportunidad de estar aquí en uno de los recintos más importantes del mundo. One of the best places in the world to talk about politics, health, and some other things. I'm very, very thankful to be here. So basically, what I'm going to talk about is probably the most sensitive aspect of all these presentations, because we have seen data, we have seen a lot of statistics, a lot of physiology, anatomy, and a lot of predictions. But when it comes to kids, to children, that's a different matter, because there's nothing more important for society than children. I remember being a very, very happy children. I'm a father of 4 beautiful boys, and I really want to be their hero. And this is why I am here. So next slide, please. Oh my God. So basically, coronavirus disease, it's a public health disaster. Definitely a public health catastrophe that we haven't encountered in over 100 years, not even with the Spanish flu. That in the words of the most knowledgeable doctors, we know that at least 100 million people lose their life during that terrible event. But this is a little bit different for different reasons. So according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's the CDC, in July of 2021, 4.2 million pediatric COVID-19 cases have been reported. This is potentially, or was, the most critical season of this, because we didn't know anything about this. So we're talking about 5.6% of the cases of children. Among children infected with COVID-19, only 0.1 to 1.9% of cases require hospitalization. And I really think this is very important. So the mortality rate was from 0 or not existent to 0.03%. Next slide. From the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, it was evident that children infected with SARS-CoV-2 remain mostly asymptomatic. In a surveillance study at the beginning of the pandemic in different countries, children typically encounter up to 2% of laboratory-confirmed SARS-CoV-2 cases. In England, between the first trimester of 2021, very, very few children got infected or positive for COVID-19. And I'm talking about 1.1%. So very minimal, very minimal. And pretty much the same date, during the same time, in Italy, again, another 1% of children got infected, total number of infected patients. So what I'm trying to say here is that children, they don't tend to get ill with COVID-19. They tend to get very mild or moderate disease unless they have like other comorbidities or primary immune deficiencies, secondary immune deficiencies, or acquired immune deficiencies. So, and that's important. Next slide, please. So the emerging of the SARS-CoV-2 variants are becoming more transmissible and more, there's better for escaping for the vaccine-induced immunity. What is that? So basically what I'm saying is that there's no need to add more vaccines because, people, they're going to get infected with the different variants. About 6 months ago or so, I put that slide that you're watching on your screen on my Twitter account. And virtually I say that as an immunologist, I'm a pediatric allergist immunologist and global health specialist and immigration doctor as well, that I am ashamed, and I am today ashamed of the real face of pediatrics worldwide. Because how can a kid of less than 1 year old can have all those shots that most of them, they don't work? I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I know for a fact that only some vaccines do work. And the reason that I'm saying this is because before the pandemic, the largest, biggest, and more efficient immunization program in the world was the polio vaccine under the International Rotary, which was called Polio Plus. The main person who started this was not only my teacher, my mentor, but my good friend, Dr. Carlos Canseco Gonzalez, the international president of Rotary. And he was able to vaccinate, obviously, with hundreds and thousands of amazing people throughout the world, to vaccinate 2 billion children around the globe. So I do believe in some vaccines, but not all of the vaccines. And you will see we go to the next slide, please. When I was growing up, back in the day, back in the early 70s, we only used to have 3 vaccines. Can you see now on your screen the number of vaccines? So you have to multiply on the vertical line and then on the horizontal line, and you will get, before 18 years old, how many vaccines now we have that they're useless. We don't need them. And we can talk about this for weeks, and probably we will never end. But this is unfortunately the agenda. So having said that children, they don't get easily ill. They can get infected, definitely. But they just get moderate symptoms. Why the international agenda, whoever is moving this agenda, they want to vaccinate a little bit over 2.5 billion children in the world. I find out that totally unacceptable. And I was invited by the Mexican Senate I'm from Mexico, about 2 months ago. They gave me the opportunity for the first time ever in the history of the Senate to disclose this kind of and touch this kind of topics. They give me 3 hours. And I said, well, this is not a one-man show. I need to invite somebody who is not only better than me, but who knows most things that I do. And I invite Professor Dr. Robert Malone and another friend from the US, Steve Kirch. And it was very revealing. And I am now in front of you, wonderful people. Thank you for this opportunity. Let's go to the next slide, please. So in order to have an efficient vaccine, it has to have 3 characteristics, only 3, that's it. It has to stimulate a specific immune response. It has to prevent an infectious disease, and it has to be safe and effective. Hence, I don't think COVID vaccine achieved those things. It's very simple. Next slide. Basically, the ages, these are United States statistics. From 6 months to 4 years, 2.1 million children, unfortunately, have been vaccinated, which is pretty much 12% of that age group. So hence, they are trying to vaccinate 15 million more kids. So probably after this amazing summit with these amazing people and the things that we are sharing, they're not going to vaccinate those 15 million kids. That will be our greatest achievement. On the other side, it's people, children ages 5 and 11, 11.2 million children have been vaccinated. So we still, up to this time, this moment, we can save 17.4 million kids. If we can make that change and we can make that happen together, I think we have achieved in saving humanity. Thank you so much.